The Heartbreak Diaries, the final chapter. They say love always finds you when you're not looking. Maybe that's what this was. Two people in the same chapter for a moment. Laughing, creating, feeling seen. It wasn't perfect, but it was definitely real. When I started editing the Heartbreak Diaries, I thought it was just about being consistent, about practicing storytelling and editing. But somewhere between the laughter and the long talks and the surprises, it became a mirror, a reflection of who I was when I allowed myself to be soft, when I allowed someone in. And then, like all good stories, it had to come to an end. Not with anger, not with regret, just with the quiet understanding that not everyone you love is meant to stay. 6 weeks later, I've realized the point was never the ending, it was always the becoming. I've learned that friendship is the way I want to fall in love, with ease, with laughter, and with honesty. I've learned to listen deeply, to compromise without losing myself, and to open up even when my instinct is to run. Heartbreak doesn't mean failure, it just means love changing forms, transforming into growth, into wisdom, into peace, and into faith. So where do we go from here? We grow, we heal, we fall in love again, but this time with clearer eyes and a softer heart. Because even though the Heartbreak Diaries are coming to an end, the story of becoming who I'm meant to be is just beginning. So, it's been 6 weeks since I went no contact, and this video is very different from all the others that you've seen before. All the other videos were obviously like the vlogs of my time in Atlanta. This episode is not about the vlogs in themselves, but it's definitely more so about what they taught me. So if you are someone who is dealing with heartbreak, maybe this might help you. There will definitely be a takeaway, not just for whoever's watching this, but for me when I watch back and be like, damn, 6 weeks ago me was like, oh my god, this is the end of the world. Whereas 6 weeks later me is like, this is just another snippet in my life that I'm gonna look back on and be like, did I overreact? Like, did I do too much? I created the series, The Heartbreak Diaries, one, because most importantly, I wanted something to fill up my time. I'm currently like working in my family business at the moment, so it's not like I had a steady 9 to 5 rigid schedule to kind of take my mind off of things, which a lot of people do throw themselves into work. My schedule is very much flexible, so I was definitely sure that I needed something to occupy my time. And one thing about editing that they may not tell you is it takes hours to edit videos. It could take me the whole week to edit one video. Obviously not like 8 hours a day or anything, but a good like 5 hours a day. In those moments, even though I was editing the vlog, I wasn't thinking about the things I was watching in the vlog. Like I was just solely focused on working, and it worked. Content is something that I want to be consistent at anyway, so I did use this as an opportunity to be like, I'm not consistent on YouTube, I want to become consistent on YouTube. And so this is a quick and easy way to start by doing that. I wanted to really grow in my ability to storytell, my ability to edit, and I think as I grow, it's just going to get better. So I definitely use this vlog to do that. Using this personal project allowed me to connect emotionally with this craft that I want to develop. The actual vlogs was beautiful to watch the friendship develop between us, specifically in episodes 4 and 5, where you really saw like the silly side of both of us, the cooking that we did together, the surprise sip and paints, even when he was like, oh, I actually hate this, and like just learning about each other as we did these little things. I feel as though those were my favorite moments, and even watching them back, I was just like, damn, like this is something that I'm gonna miss, but it's something that you can always build with like another friend, or something that you can do with your current friends. It was really nice to like, watch over those clips. Of course, that being said, getting towards the end of the vlog series, it did become quite hard knowing that, wow, this is coming to an end. Our relationship got stronger, and I think it was clear to see the relationship getting stronger like throughout the vlogs. So it's kind of a bittersweet moment, but 6 weeks later, I think it's more sweet than it is bitter. I don't have like the intense feelings that I had in the beginning. Not to say that those feelings are 100% gone. I think once you love someone, you kind of love them. Even if you're not like in love with them, you can still have a love for them. And I think that is currently where I am. So the key question, what have I learned from this whole situation? Something I definitely learned about myself was that friendships for me are the blueprint. I think every single relationship I want to go into following this will be starting from a friendship basis. I think that's like the bare minimum. I think that is why we got on so well. That is why like the feelings developed as strongly as they did, because it was like, damn, I really like you as a person. I think you are super funny, super cool. Like I can see you being a best friend going forward. I think at the very fundamental level, that is something that is a non-negotiable. Also, as someone who is just used to what I'm used to, stuck in my ways sometimes, in the past I've been quite a persuasive person, but I think it was just really nice to hear someone and not try and change their mind about whatever they thought. Even though, of course, I didn't agree with him for the most part. It was just good to learn that other people have different beliefs, and that's okay. That's okay in the moment. You can't force them to change. Someone will change their mind when they want to change their mind, if they want to change their mind. When something is a very big value of yours, it shouldn't be compromised. And that is definitely something that I learned, especially because I think I was ready to compromise, whereas he wasn't. But it taught me that there's a difference between healthy compromise and like self-abandonment. And there was a moment there that maybe I was willing to give up a part of myself that I shouldn't have, which was, well, I was never going to give up my faith, but like the decision that I had always made that I want to be with someone who puts God first. That's something that I had always said, but I think like being in a situation where you're like, oh my God, this is so great. Like, why would I sacrifice? I can compromise. I think it just kind of made it clear to me that, you know, there's just some things you shouldn't compromise on. Finally, one of the most important things that I think I learned in this whole process was my attachment style, which is something that I had never like looked into. But I guess like I figured out that I had an avoidant attachment style. But I think within the realms of our friendship relationship, I felt safe enough to be vulnerable. This is something that I was tackling when I was in therapy during my time in New York, but I felt as though I never had the opportunity to be vulnerable. I just felt like I never felt safe enough to be vulnerable, and this particular relationship allowed me to be vulnerable. I think that's probably why I enjoyed it so much, because there was a certain level of closeness that was achieved through the vulnerability. But I think it just taught me that I should be maybe not vulnerable to everyone, but open and honest about everything, which is not something that I'm used to or something that I do often, but I think is definitely something that I'm going to be doing from henceforth. Have I heard from him since we decided to stop talking? And I have, but not in the way that you guys think. So we decided obviously that we were going to go no contact, but maybe we would be pen pals in the future. So he has sent me a letter and I have sent him a letter and a postcard. And actually he sent me a letter with like gifts, seasonings to be specific, because he really had this bond over cooking. The letters are very open, honest, but not deep in a way that gets us reattached. Now, the most important part of this all. So one thing that I really dove into was my faith post my trip to Atlanta. That was like my guiding light. So when I came back, my prayers in the beginning was very much, God is close to the brokenhearted, like God save me from this like pain, the pain of a broken heart, which I researched. You can actually feel like your heart is breaking. It's not just like something that is in your head. So my prayers went from that, but evolved to God to show me my calling, where my prayers used to be very save me from the pain of this situation. It then became a thank you for the fact that I've been through the situation and I've come out on the other side stronger, and I can pray not with the desire of maybe God bringing us back together, because that's not what I'm praying for, but the desire that God will just reveal himself to Mr. Man, so to speak. Now it's not like a think about him every day. I don't think about him very often at all, actually, but if he does pop into my mind, I do pray for him in those occasions. I can say that God and the involvement of God through this journey definitely expedited the process, because like I said, 6 weeks is kind of a short amount of time for how I was feeling at the beginning of this journey, but with God, all things are possible, okay? I also just reframed the thought process of what heartbreak is. To me, I feel like rejection and heartbreak has always been like such a bad negative thing. Whereas, you know, they always say rejection is redirection. I think I really changed my mindset in that and was like, you know, this person may not be for me, but it's because there is greater on the other side. So sometimes you kind of get stuck telling yourself, oh my God, this is the best I'm ever gonna get, because you've never experienced the best you're ever gonna get, if you know what I mean. This was probably the best person I've ever dated, just in the sense of how caring he was towards like my needs and wants and whatever, and just like a thoughtful person all round as a friend. You know, I know like they say the dating pool is crazy and all the good men are gone. So I think maybe that's like what plays in my head when I think, oh my God, are all the good men gone? Like, this is one of the best and he's not even a Christian. Like, it just goes to show that there are still very good men out there, and God is redirecting me. I will eventually be with my good man who treats me just as good, if not even better. Finally, in the past, I think a heartbreak or a rejection like this would have made me more bitter. Prior to this, everyone would call me the ice queen, snow maiden. Like, I was very closed off. I'd never cry. Like, a lot of my friends have never seen me cry or just emotional. They always just see me happy, bubbly, because that's who I generally am as a person. Through this process, I felt safe enough and realized that it's okay to feel emotional. It's okay to feel sad and like to work through the sadness. To get to the other side. I think the one thing, again, like taking it back to God, was I think joy is something that has always been within me. And so I had to pull from that well of joy rather than relying on the outsource or the external factors to bring me happiness. They're completely different, I think. Going forward, I have not been bitter, which I have been in the past with like other situations that didn't work out. I've seen this and I've gone into this with a very positive outlook on things, which is probably why, again, like I said, 6 weeks later, here we are. We are not bitter. We are not mad. We are not sad. We are just happy and hopeful for the future that is ahead of us. And when I say us, I mean me. Me and you. We are in this together, okay? And I just want you to remember, I'm talking to myself, but I'm also talking to you on the other side of the screen. There will be a next time, and we will show up differently. And we will be softer, wiser, and more hopeful because of it. So, drum roll, please, to close. I just want to thank all of you. Again, I didn't post this vlog, this series, to gain a whole bunch of viewers. I just really posted it for myself to be consistent, to stay consistent even when nobody's watching, and to look back on in the future and be like, damn girl, like you went through this and you did that and you came out on the other side and you were better for it. So thank you for watching. I hope you did enjoy. I hope you enjoyed seeing the journey. If you were there, if you supported, if you commented, if you liked, whatever you did, even if you just watched silently, thank you for being here. And I hope you learned something. I hope you took something away. Even though this is the end of the Heartbreak Diaries, I think the Glow Up Diaries are in order. Do you know what I mean, babe? I want to see where we are a year from now. We are closing up 2025, but I think 2026 is going to be an amazing year, and I can't wait to see the journey, since I'm going to document all of it and it's going to be right here for you guys to see. I was kind of gagging for this series to be over so I could like release those videos next, and so that is what is coming up next, and I'm extremely excited about that. I just love a cheeky gist. Do you know what I mean, babe? I will be in Ghana for an extended period of time, and then I hope to not be in London for most of next year, because if you know me, you know I do not like this place. Even though London is home, London is not forever, okay? London cannot be forever. TTYL.